Taxonomy is the science of classifying and grouping living things based on similar characteristics. Taxonomy places all these organisms into a structure called the phylogenetic tree, or the tree of life. Following the tree of life, we can see all the connections and differences between organisms. The system has been around for over 200 years and was put forward in 1758 by Swedish botanist Carolus Linnaeus. Linnaeus realized that there was a big problem with the biological classification system at the time. For example, the scientific name of the potato back then would have been Solanum cal inerme herbaceae racemis tuberosum. Quite a mouthful. Linnaeus proposed the binomial nomenclature way of naming an organism. So instead of calling an organism by 5 names, we only call it using its genus and species name. The modern scientific name of a potato is therefore Solanum tuberosum. In his classification system, every organism is placed into a kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Modern scientists, however, have added a larger taxa above kingdom called domain. Bacteria and archaea are prokaryotes, meaning their genetic information is not contained in a nucleus, while eukarya are eukaryotes, meaning their genetic information is contained in a nucleus. Of all the 3 domains, eukarya is the most complex. Under the domain eukarya, there are 4 kingdoms. These 4 kingdoms are Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Each kingdom accounts for a large branch of the species on the earth. Protista are single-celled organisms that possess a nucleus. Example, amoeba or algae. Protista may be plant-like or animal-like. Under the kingdom Plantae, we find plants, which are autotrophs. They make their own food and possess a cellulose cell wall. Fungi are plant-like in appearance, and their cells contain a cell wall made from chitin. They are heterotrophic, which means they depend on other organisms for food. However, they can't move, so they grow on top of the food and digest it using enzymes. The kingdom Animalia contain animals. They are heterotrophs, multicellular, and are able to move. Most classification is done by looking on organisms and grouping them based on similar characteristics. For example, let's classify a dog. We know it isn't a single-celled organism, and we don't need a microscope to view it. Therefore, it does not belong to the domain archaea or bacteria, and it isn't a protist. But it does have cells containing a nucleus, so it belongs to the domain eukarya. The dog depends on other organisms for food, it is multicellular, and it is mobile, so it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. It also has a spinal cord running along its back. Therefore, it belongs to the phylum Chordata. The dog produces milk, gives birth like a human, and contains 3 small bones in its ear called the ossicles. These bones are only found in organisms from the class Mammalia. The dog also eats meat and possesses large canines, so it belongs to the group Carnivora. Then, when we look at the head shape of the dog and its specific body structure, we know that they belong to the family Canidae. The genus and the species are now very specific. It is Canis familiaris. You can carry out this process for many common organisms in your environment and apply the basic taxonomic principles to classify these organisms.